Everybody, Ralph Havens here, autoimmuneanswers.com. You know, I play in the world of anything is possible. Anything can happen in the blink of an eye. And it's because I've seen stuff. I've seen stuff. I think it's one of the big reasons I took over 30, 35 classes from Richard Bartlett in Matrix Energetics. It wasn't that I needed to learn more of how to do it. It's that I just love being in that space. And he's not teaching those exactly in that format right now, but he's teaching other stuff that's really cool. But I think the reason I went so many years and continue to go and work with him and see him and interact with him is there's something that happens in that space. You know, when you put a few hundred people in a room and they're all playing with this matrix energetics infinite possibility space, something happens. And I've seen things. I remember one time in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm going to be doing a session for you in just a moment. You're in it right now, actually, but I'm going to be doing one for you. So you might want to think about if something were to be done for you today, what might that be? And we're going to be doing something with a friend of mine, somebody I know, somebody I've worked with that that wants something very special. And so we're going to be traveling to Asia and helping a bit of a real estate deal happen today. That's our intention. So now we can let go of that, and you can see what's different for you from this session and the rest of the day. And every time you watch it, what's different for you. You can test things before and after. You know, I love to test real things, range of motion, how you feel, how you move before and after, and notice what's different, and then notice what's different later. But I was in Scottsdale, Arizona many years ago, and Richard Bartlett was, he had Hector Garcia up on stage for a day. So instead of doing a 2-day Matrix Energetics Magic class, which was an advanced class in Matrix, he had a 3-day class. And the extra day was all Hector Garcia. And if you don't know Hector, you might want to look him up. He's a chiropractor in San Diego who does magic, and people see him for a very specific type of condition, and he helps really clear that. And so he had a person that came on stage, and I had met her friend right before they went on stage. And her friend had, so my friend that I met, her friend was there, and they were there from Canada, and they were in Scottsdale. And it was right during the Olympics, I believe, because I think the Canadian hockey team had just won the gold medal. I think that's the way it went, or it might have been the US, I forgot. But she had terminal cancer. And so she told her story and how the doctor said she didn't have a lot of time to live. And, you know, of course, nothing is guaranteed, and you can't say, oh, this is going to cure cancer or cure anything or do anything. You can't say that. That's not something that I'm saying. But this was my experience that weekend was she got on stage and told this story of having a terminal disease. And so Hector worked on her. I think it was about 20 minutes of doing stuff, and he moved patterns and talked about parallel universes and other dimensions and bringing energies in and shifting energies and harmonizing her to that and that to her and all sorts of stuff like that. And we were in a room of probably about 500 people, and Richard Bartlett and everybody else in the Matrix world was there, and we were all in our Matrix energetic state. So you can be in that state right now. And then at the end of about 20 minutes, Hector told her that she didn't have cancer, that it was in a dimension, 9 dimensions removed from her. And he had harmonized her to that and harmonized that to her, and that she didn't have cancer. Now that's a crazy, bold statement to make, right? In front of 500 people. And so then she sat down and we continued with that 3rd day of the Matrix Energetics Magic class. And months later, Jen and I were in Vancouver. We were living in San Diego at the time. We were in Vancouver and having one of our vacations. And we said, let's call up Panna. So we actually emailed her before we got there, and she was a realtor. So this was not the woman that had the cancer, but her friend, the one I had met. And so we went around and looked at real estate. We actually put an offer in on a condo in Vancouver in the West End. And then we took her out to dinner, Indian food, and we were having a great time. And then I asked her, how is your friend doing? The one that went on stage. And she said, oh, she came back and she didn't have cancer. Like the doctors checked her, everything was like gone. So I was like, whoa. And she told another story of another guy. I'll tell that another day, but something that happened that looked very crazy on stage. And I asked about it. And so she told a story about that, which I'll tell later, another day. But I've seen miracles. And I remember one time I was working up here in another clinic for a few months, kind of make ends meet while I got things set up for us here. And I had a client come in. I was co-treating with one of the other therapists. It was still during my time to get oriented to the facility, and I was co-treating. So two of us working on one person, and we had 40 minutes per session. And she came in with a diagnosis of scleroderma, and that's a bad diagnosis. It means your connective tissue starts to harden, and it's not a good outcome. It's not a good outcome. And so she was with a cane, and she was really pretty despondent because some stuff had happened medically, and it wasn't looking good, and some of the surgeries weren't working anymore, and so they were thinking of doing another one, but she wasn't doing well. And so I thought, what can I do? And I'd already been told to tone it down, like my matrix energetics magic, make it look not so weird, Ralph, because I was working for somebody else in a regular physical therapy clinic. But I sat there and I was like, man, what do I do? If I had 100 hours with integrated manual therapy, we could make a difference. And if she went gluten-free, we could make a difference. And man, we could work on a lot of stuff for a long time, but I have 40 minutes. And so the other therapist was working on her neck and doing really good advanced techniques on her neck. And she had a very stiff neck, very stiff chest, stiff back, all sorts of stuff. Skin wasn't good. It was yellowish and kind of real hard looking. And so I stood up and I did this. Yeah. And I was just in the corner, not just, but I was in the corner of the room doing this. So you might notice what you notice. We all want stuff, right? But when it comes down to it, what's the most important thing in this physical world? Whatever that is for you. That's it. This is for you. For what does your heart desire? For what does your heart desire? If you could have anything you want, what might that be? And as I worked on this lady or this pattern or doing whatever this is, the other therapist and her started looking at each other and like, oh my God, because her skin quit being so hard and yellow looking. It had more life and it was more supple, and she was moving her hands and it was like, oh my goodness, look at how I'm moving. And she actually left and had forgotten her cane and had to come back, and she was laughing and having a really good time. Now, I don't know how it ended up later because they decided not to continue with me there. I guess it was just a little too weird. I always wonder how she did. I asked once and they didn't let me know. your heart's desires. What is it you truly want? This is for you. This is for you. What if all you had to be was you? There you go. So if you like, you can let me know what you notice. Comment, if you're in Facebook or YouTube, and let me know what you notice. And let me know what's different in your world. And if you watch this again, let me know what's different that time. Because there's something really cool about hanging out in the matrix energetic state. As if you had taken 30, 35 classes and been in that space for days, numerous weekends a year. There's a really cool thing that happens. There you go. And the cool thing is you can experience it. And as you play in it more and more and more, you get to realize that that's available to you all the time. All the time. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to be, it's not quite ready yet. It'll be ready in a day or two. Something really cool, a way to get even a lot more of these sessions, these matrix energetic sessions for you. And I'm going to give that to you in just a day or two. Look for that. All right, everybody. As they say, namaste.